Thank you, Mike. Just had Mike Ragsdale fill this role. Mike is a veteran politician, speaks very well, very polished guy. I'm a journalist. I came up in the newspapers. It's all I will be able to do to refrain from cursing up here. So I won't be slick, but hopefully we'll be able to ask some questions that you guys want the answers to. Some of these will be kind of overlapping with some of the ones that Mike asked. Some of them may not. But anyway, without further ado, I'd like to go ahead and get introductions from the candidates. They'll have 2 minutes to introduce themselves and say whatever they want to say as a means of introduction. We'll start on the other end with Joe LaCroix.
Testing, can you hear me? Hi, everybody. First, I want to say how grateful I am to be up here talking to you all tonight. Thank you for coming out. Thank you for allowing us the opportunity to talk to you about, what's very important to me, and that's the town of Farragut. I'd also like to thank the other alderman candidates that came out. It makes it better when all of us can present our ideas together. I'd like to thank Mr. Parker. He does have a face for newsprint. Thank you, sir, very much for coming out. My name is Joe LaCroix. I am a current sitting alderman, and I am running for this position because I think my thoughts and my ideas on how to present or tackle issues that the town is facing is pretty sound. My wife of 35 years is here. Our children grew up here and graduated from Farragut High School. They're both in college now, studying in engineering. I'm very proud of them. I've spent 18 years now in local government as a staff member. From that perspective, I understand how government works from the inside. Earlier, Ms. Pavin spoke about working with other governments, staff to staff. I've done it many times. And it's the most effective way to get other organizations to participate with you. We're all going to talk about the same issues. Traffic, thank you, Mike. Traffic, infrastructure, stormwater management, and communications. These are all very important things. I'm sure we're going to be talking about in questions coming up. If you have any questions afterwards, I'll be more than happy to answer those. That was good. I got 15 seconds. Wow.
So let's go this way with Ms. Hall.
Test. Good evening. Hi, I'm Diane Hall. And I'm so proud to be up here. I'm glad to see all the people here. I know a lot of the people I haven't met, so hopefully I can introduce myself very quickly and give you a quick overview. I grew up in Bloomington, Indiana, a town very much like this. College town. It had about 35,000 people when I was growing up. That expanded to about 55,000 when the students arrived. I went to school there. My parents couldn't afford to send me to school, so the Air Force was kind enough to pay for my education. And I went in knowing I had 4 years of service to pay the Air Force back, and I loved it. I stayed for 27 years. I had a great time. So many experiences in the Air Force that were eye-opening. And the one thing about the military is they continually train you. They train you in leadership. They train you in project management. They train you in command positions and finances, all kinds of things. Sometimes you feel like you're in school more than you're actually doing stuff. But absolutely some of my favorite experiences were in the military. I retired, my husband also retired Air Force officer. We retired up in DC and we could choose any place we wanted to live. We ended up choosing here. We looked around lots of different places. Actually, 2 years before we finally retired and came here, we stopped looking. We knew this is where we wanted to be. Great school systems. My kids were in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade when we came here. And they went through the school system. They're now growing, they're adults. I spent a lot of time serving the community. I started when my kids were young. as a youth sports coach, worked with CBFO, worked with Concord, First Baptist, in their Upwards program, later went into my HOA, worked with them, and I'm currently on the Parks and Athletics Council. And I'm looking forward to having the opportunity to serve you as an alderman. Thank you.
Test, perfect. All right. Good evening, everybody. My name is Joey Ruffalo, and I'm also running for alderman here in the north with Diane. Thank you for running as well. Thank you, Joe, for being here. Thank you for not cursing during your intro as well. So I've been here several years. Ever since we got here, my wife and I moved here. We chose Farragut to come. We chose Farragut to stay. We chose Farragut to be our home. Pretty much within the first month, we got involved. We got active. That was something that we wanted to do. That was important for us to give back to a community that we wanted to call home, and that we were calling home. I've been involved in the tourism committee for the last several years. I serve as their vice chair. I serve on the executive directors for Shop Farragut. I'm a member of the local Rotary Club in Farragut as well, serving this year as the chair of their fundraising committee. I'm active locally. I've been around. You've probably seen me. Some people have joked that I'm Mr. Everywhere. That's just the joke. I don't know. I think I told David Smoke one time I had a twin. He believed me for a while. Why am I running? Well, I have an MBA in financial planning. My advanced degree has allowed me to work with individuals, to work with businesses on advanced planning, on financial goals, on long-term scopes. I'm a business development strategist. I know what it takes to run a business. I know what it takes to grow businesses. And I am financially sound and conservative. And I just want what's best for the town of Farragut. Thank you.
All right, we're going to start with the questions. We're going to rotate the first person who responds during the course of this, so everybody will have a chance to go first once or twice. Now, Compass doesn't really cover Farragut, the town of Farragut, very much. Unfortunately, we don't have the manpower to do that. So I've got a little education in some of the Farragut politics this weekend. Did a little research. One of the things I did was I went to everybody's website. And one of the common themes that I saw about all of the websites was that all of you want to preserve the character of Farragut. Whatever it is that makes Farragut special. So what I want you to do is tell us what it is that makes Farragut special, and what are the threats to the character of Farragut. And we'll start with Ms. Hall.
Thank you. Actually, that's one of my biggest challenges, because I think if you look at it, stewardship. Stewardship is not a fun term, but it means taking care of something, planning, managing, and protecting something that's been given to you to watch over. And that's something that we need to do if we come into this leadership role in Farragut. I think Farragut's a great town. For those who look at it and say there's problems, we have issues, but I don't think the issues are anything you won't find in any municipality. We have development. Where's development going? We have infrastructure. Development's growing fast. Infrastructure. So we've got to look at all of those issues. Very excited about a new school coming in. I think that's something that we're going to have to take a hard look at. I look forward to meeting with Lauren and talking with her about it. We've had the school planned for quite some time. We've had a traffic plan for 1.5 years, and I don't know that we've done enough real studying about what's going to happen when that school hits, where the traffic's going to go, how we're going to cycle people in and out. So I think that's really important. Did you say things that we'd be scared of?
Well, things that would be a threat to the things that make Farragut special.
Okay, a threat. One thing that people talk a lot about is police presence, and I think that's interesting. When you look at it, I don't think there's a big problem with crime right now, but that leaves an opening for it to be a problem. So having police presence in our area is very important, especially when it comes to things like speeding. A lot of people have talked about speeding on some of the main roads, taking care of that. And so interacting, and I know that Louise and Alex have both said that they have close relationships with Brent Gibson and are focused on doing that. And I'll end there because I'll run out of time otherwise.
All right, Mr. Ruffalo.
Can you repeat the question?
What do you see as the qualities that make Farragut special? And what are the threats to whatever it is that makes Farragut special?
So what makes Farragut special is something we're doing here tonight. We're having discourse, we're coming together, we're as a community. We've all seen it, there's been a lot of vitriol online about this upcoming election and what we're doing, but having a forum like this tonight where people can come together and actually see us in person and talk to us, I think that's what makes us special. Our neighborhoods. I've driven around these neighborhoods and I've seen people out playing, I've seen the manicured lawns, I've seen the style of people that people want to come here for. That's why we moved here. That's why we came, for the quality of life that Farragut has to offer. I think protecting that and preserving that is what we were all talking about. When we become too suburbanized, we lose our history, we lose our character. I think that's what people are afraid of. I think that's a threat that people are worried about. That's all I'll go with.
All right,
Sweet.
Mr. McCoy.
I didn't yield my time to you, so you stop.
Do I have 3 minutes now? The character of the town of Farragut. I'm going to give a couple of examples of what I believe the character of the town of Farragut is, and it goes back to our neighborhoods, and it goes back to the National Community Survey. The National Community Survey that came out not too long ago, a couple years ago, and 97% of the respondents to that survey said that the town of Farragut was a wonderful place to live. It is. Our neighborhoods are wonderful. Neighbors are wonderful. That's the character that we need to protect. So the example I have is Ford, the Ford property. When it's developed, do we develop that just willy-nilly? And the answer to that question is absolutely not. The communities, the neighborhoods that surround the Ford property need to be protected. Their character needs to be protected by the development of the Ford property in a compatible manner, compatible method. So I think that's one of the character things. I also want to agree with Mr. Ruffalo. When I moved here, I moved from a very populous state, Florida. And when we came here, my neighbors came to my house. They came to my house. In Florida, that doesn't happen. Neighbors came to my house, knocked on the door and said, you know what, we baked some cakes for you. And I was like, yes, I love cakes. Looked at me, I ate probably all of it too. That is the character of our community. Neighbors, looking out for neighbors. The threat analysis, our area is growing so fast. I'm not talking about the town of Farragut. I'm talking about everything else. East Tennessee is growing so fast. That is a threat that is going to continue they're going to continue to grow. More people are going to be on our roads. We do need, the sheriff, we do need law enforcement presence to kind of tame that fast traffic down. Thank you. I had these big.
All right. We'll move on to the next question now. As Mike Arms pointed out, Farragut does not, or relies almost entirely on sales tax revenue for the town's operation. So basically, how can the town, the government, collaborate with local business owners, organizations, the chamber, the Farragut Business Alliance, all these groups? How can the city work with them to increase that tax base?
Okay, great question. We have a lot of empty retail space in our town right now. I think I've done an analysis where if you take the standard, and I won't bore everybody, but if you take the standard retail cost and divide it by the sales tax, if we filled our retail space up, we can produce another $500,000 to $600,000 in annual revenue to the town. Great. So what do we do with the excess money? How do we get people to come and open a business in Farragut? Well, one, we have a lot of restrictions, not the right word. We have a lot of hoops to jump through. I've heard from business owners over and over again, the process of getting started. Now we have a standard that is set, that's great, I love it. But we need to be able to navigate that standard quicker so business owners aren't delayed in opening. Because delays cost money, especially for small businesses. We have to find a way to encourage the mom and pops that we want, the home-based businesses that maybe come out of the home and come into a storefront. We have to encourage people that want to start a business. How could we do that? Well, we can get together with Shop Farragut, we can get together with the chamber, we can get together with the town, we can get together with the community and form maybe like a match-for-match grant that the town can give people that are wanting to start their businesses to help them with their build-out, to help them navigate the process. The more businesses we have in town, the more people, yes, there's gonna be traffic, because people are gonna come here to shop, but they're gonna go home at the end of the day, which is what we call kind of want, right? But they're gonna go spend their money here. If they spend their money here, we're gonna be just fine. So we need to attract those people that come here.
So collaboration with the Farragut Business Alliance and Shop Farragut and the West Knox Chamber is very important. I think one of the pieces that we were missing, or when I first came on board, is that liaison between the town and our business community. So in our last budget, we approved funding for a position to do exactly that, to be that liaison, to go out in the business community and find out what exactly we can do as a town to speed that process along and help these small businesses come online quicker. And to possibly attract business into our community. How do you bring, businesses? The analysis on that is something that was lacking. So I have an MBA as well, and when I started looking at the data that was going along, and I kept asking this question: where are the analytics? What am I looking at? How am I going to put a metric to this business growth we're looking at? So this position, I believe, is going to be key in getting us analytics, or getting the Board of Mayor and Alderman analytics that we just don't have right now. So it's a partnership, it's an effort across the community, it's an effort also with getting the property owners to open their business, to open their, Ingalls. Ingalls doesn't want people in that shopping center. They don't want businesses to open there. So getting with the business owners, maybe getting with, the owner of Aubrey's and getting that business back. I'm gonna be talking about food a lot because I love food. But bringing Aubrey's back. So I think there's a lot of opportunities for the town to work with the institutions that are already in place to make that a better working environment. Haha.
Joe, economic development corridor, that's a good plan. It's a plan, but it's not addressing anything right now. It's a plan that we're gonna have to wait to see anything done with. What I like to think about is listening to the people that are here already to say, I've heard that it's hard to open a business, isn't really listening to the people. You gather the businesses together, you ask them, what have been your troubles? What have been your struggles? You work with the Farragut Business Alliance, and you really put a plan together to address those things. I feel like we're sitting back and we're looking from a viewpoint of I've heard, or people say, or let's get in there and find out what is the issue that's causing those problems so that we can help address and help people move into places quicker. I think that Farragut speaks very highly for itself. It's a great place to live. It's a great place to open a business. We've just got to help those people find out how to open that business and support them through the process. Great thing about Farragut Business Alliance, you can become part of it for free. And that's the beauty of it. You go to the chamber and they want to start, grabbing your money before anything else. Farragut Business Alliance is already here to help you out. They can help you get started. Economic Development Corridor, good idea. Let's see what happens when it happens. It's gonna take a while before you can actually hire someone, and then who's that person and what are they doing? But I think you can do something right now. As an alderman, you get together with people, you sit down, you talk to them. That's what it is. Thank you.
All right, our next question is, Farragut does not provide the same public safety services as cities its size, smaller, and cities with much fewer resources than Farragut has. And by that I mean fire and police protection. You have to, Farragut residents have to, hire rural metro to, in case there's a fire at their house. They don't have a fire, there's not a fire department here. Have to rely on the sheriff's office to send a deputy down here every now and then when there's a chance. And people have said the new sheriff has promised more patrols. If he doesn't come through, my question is, would you support establishing a property tax to fund a fire and or police department so that Farragut can provide those services itself for their own citizens?
Well, the quick answer, and when you asked me would I support a property tax, I was going to say no and sit down. No, I don't believe that a property tax is supported by the community. If the community decided they wanted a property tax, there is a method, a mechanism for them to reach out and say, hey, we want this. Before we would go any further, before I would go any further, and I'm against it, but the people are the ones who really make the decisions on these things. The people that I represent are the constituents who are going to say, we want this. I can turn around and say, you know what, that's gonna cost X number of dollars, and that means we're going to have a property tax to do it. It's up to the people at that point. If they push it, if the people want this, then there's a process and method to go for it. But at this point, I am not in support of a property tax at all.
It's fine.
I'm not in support of a property tax either. I don't think we need to stand up our own police force, because people, I think, figure, okay, we're gonna stand up our own police force, and that just means bringing a couple people in, a couple cars, and letting them off they go and patrol. And it's not. It's about building a facility. It's about buying cars and whatever other vehicles you need. It's about having human resources, administrative, it goes on. And so it's not a small cost. And if we can work with Knox County to continue to provide that capability to us, that's the way you want to go. Once again, what Joe said, if people want to have a property tax, we can do lots of things if we want to raise a lot of money with the property tax. When I've talked to people, they've said no. You've seen it online. I think every candidate up here, be it alderman or mayor, have said no to a property tax. So I also think that Rural Metro does a fantastic job of providing services. They come out, they respond quickly. If you are not subscribed to them, there's gonna be that gotcha. There was a 70-year-old woman who had I think her fire alarm went off in her house, and she had to call Rural Metro to come and turn it off. They came and turned it off, and then they charged her $1,500. But she had never subscribed to the service. So, I just paid my $1,000, I think last week. But it's like any insurance. You pay it hoping you'll never have to use it, and that's what the Rural Metro Fire Department is. So no property tax, no need to have our own fire department, and continue to support Rural Metro and encourage people to fund that service. Thank you.
No.
Somehow I figured that was gonna be the answer.
You should have researched the question first.
I'm sorry, I accidentally muted this. What is, this is a very similar question, one that Mike asked Louise earlier. What's your vision for residential development? What types of residential developments do you support? Is there a place for multifamily housing in Farragut, whether it's on the Kingston Pike or some of the more built-up areas already, or anywhere else in Farragut? And we start with Diane.
Okay, so if we're talking multifamily houses like an apartment, no. That's already been discussed, it's been brought forward to the town of Farragut, and they said there's not gonna be any more apartments. We have apartments. Should there be this big push that, oh my gosh, we need more apartments, then maybe you'd go back, you'd talk to the citizens. As far as development's concerned, one of my big things is trying to look out and find, what are those little infills, what are those 8, 10 acres that might be developed, and how are they zoned, so that we can know and help people before they are actually zoned. I had an interesting discussion with someone a few days ago, and he said, does the town own private property? And I said, what do you mean? No, they don't. And he says, well, I went to a meeting and they kept talking about the Ford property. Isn't that private property? And I was thinking, and I said, you know, it is. And we are already planning to take and use that property somehow. And that just seems odd to me. So I'm just gonna say that I think we need to look at development as it comes in, to plan for it. We don't have a lot of room to continue to grow. Eddie Ford Properties is Eddie Ford's property.
Absolutely.
Let's see what happens with that. It's his property. He may never sell it. His people may, whatever happens to it may happen to it. But let's not plan for it right now. It's an interesting thought, but I think it's just a thought process that doesn't serve us well and tends to drive us apart.
Yep.
Thank you.
So I will say that I firmly believe we are done with apartments. No more apartments. Residential character needs to take a place, apart in what we're trying to develop later on. And I agree with you, Diane. Eddie Ford's not dead. And here we are picking up his crumbs of his corpse to figure out what we're gonna do with his property. It's not fair to him or what he wants to do with it. And I agree. So having a plan in place for that is wonderful. We can look at it and go, this is what we want to do with your property. But man, it's his property. He can do I've heard many times, it's private property. He can do whatever they want with it. He can do whatever he wants with it. And this is the plan we can put in place. But the way we have treated him over the years with this property, and I haven't been here long enough to hear the brunt of it, but it hasn't been fair, from what I understand.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, no more apartments, residential character, buildings that fit the character of the community, like we talked about earlier. And Joe, your turn.
Real quick before Mike starts his timer. Let me address something earlier too on taxation for safety. I came from a fire district. That was where I worked before I came to work for the town of Farragut. Our millage rate was 2.55. Do you know what your millage rate here is? 1.55? The fire district took more taxes than the town did. Okay, so just to let you know, it's incredibly expensive. Density, absolutely not. There's no place that I know of that I can look at and go, there should be density here. If you look at our guiding documents, the ordinances that are out there, the future land use map, the comprehensive land use plan, there is no place in the town of Farragut for high density. It is all gonna be based upon what is next to it, what is around. We talk about Ford property. The Ford property has already been planned. There's a future land use map that you can go and look at, and it shows what density is on that property. It's already currently zoned commercial in the front, office in the middle, and residential in the back. Mr. Ford wants to sell his property. That's a great plan. I'm all for it. Let's sell, he can do whatever he wants. If he wants to sit there and leave it as an open field, I'm all for that as well. It's wonderful seeing the hay sit up there, and when they cut it, it smells wonderful to me. So the quick answer to this question is, the Board of Mayor and Alderman has already set in place no more high density, no more apartments. It's kind of a non-issue for that. If you want to talk about land use and planning and the future land use map, those documents are out there. And once again, this goes back to the citizens of the town of Farragut. We're about to have a communication, we're about to have a update to the comprehensive land use plan. Become involved, please. We need your input.
All right, next question goes to something that has been covered. You all, in fact, anticipated it too, and that is communication with your constituents, and not only your constituents in your wards, but also throughout the town. So, beginning with Mr. Ruffalo, what are your thoughts on how you will try to effectively communicate with the citizens of Farragut?
Well, that's a great question, because right now, I don't feel that most people are being effectively communicated to. So how does that, Joe, I really appreciate you setting up your office hours and taking advantage of that and putting that in place. I think that's something all of us really should look into doing and having, because we need to be out in the community. We need to be out meeting our constituents where they are. Now, whether that's a social media post, great, not everybody's on social media. Maybe that's a phone call, great, give me a call, I'll talk to you, send me an email, I'll meet you for coffee. I love coffee. Let's support our local businesses by having coffee sessions. I'll go to every coffee shop with you, I'll go to every restaurant with you and eat. Joe, I like to eat too, so, yeah. So we can do that. It just needs, we need to be more present. And when we're present, we hear, and we can listen, we can hear what's going on, so we can really be effective at what we do in relaying your concerns for the community. It's not what we want, it's what you want. We're just a vessel and a vehicle to get it done for you. We just need to hear what you have to say, but we need to be out there, and that's something that I plan to do. Thank you.
Ready for me, Mike? I'm going. So communications is a huge issue. It was one of my, one of the most important things that I felt that I could do immediately upon being appointed to the board. First thing I did was I opened up office hours. So every Wednesday before the Board of Mayor and Alderman meeting, I have open office hours. Anybody can come in and talk about anything. I see people in here that have come and visited me and has brought ideas to me, and I've taken those and stolen them as my own, but whatever. So one is open office hours. Two, the National Community Survey said that 50% of the people surveyed come to our website for information. If you've ever been to our website, it's awful. Our website is absolutely terrible. So in that, I started in January trying to work with my peers on the Board of Mayor and Alderman to get movement on a communications plan. So this communications plan was going to set about how we were going to communicate with our neighbors, with people in Farragut. So that's kind of, I didn't present that very well, and it kind of drug on, and it came back a couple months later, and once I presented it again, it came out, and the Board of Mayor and Alderman agreed we need a communication plan. So part of that is going to be putting in AI on our website. So if you go there and you've got a question on zoning, or you've got a question on an event or whatever, you can just say, tell me about the event, and AI is going to bring that up on our website. Social media and all of that is fine, it's kind of poisonous, it's toxic, but that is one of the ways to communicate. We've got a person coming in that's going to help with our communication plan, and I think we can do a much, much better job at that. And thanks, Joey. I would appreciate help on those open office hours as well. I think it's a big step. Come in and talk to me. It's how I understand what you need.
I love plans. Plans are great, but what can we do now? Communication plan, great idea. A new person coming into the government, great idea, but what can we do now? And I think we look out to what individuals have done already in the community, and we reach out to them. Jim Bowman's here. He's the Fox Run HOA president. He has created a network of HOAs in the community. He hasn't been able to reach out to all of them, but that's fantastic. That's where you start, talking one to one to one to one. Because when you get communities involved, you get bigger voices. That's one of the big things when we address anything in the town, is the voices coming together to represent either their communities or the communities around them. So that's one of the big things I think is interesting. I love his office hours. Office hours are great. I think one of the key things though is to be there at the moment it's needed. Joe had a office hours a couple weeks ago about Boring Road. Perfect. That was because it was hot. It was a hot topic. You have office hours, you have a meeting when it's a hot topic, and you provide a capability. And you have to be flexible. You have to be able to reach out and find out what's the best time to meet people. You can't meet everybody, but I do think that you can have a capability to listen to people and to really, once again, listen, plan, and deliver what the folks need. And it starts by really listening and finding out what they need, not trying to think what they need, but finding out what they need, and then looking at the models that have worked really well in the community, like what Mr. Boland's been able to do. Thank you.
All right, this is actually going to be kind of two questions. The first part, or two parts of this. The first part is going to be, we'll take it one at a time. The first part is one that already anticipated as well, and that's traffic. Traffic is a major concern here, not only the volume of the traffic, but speeding and things like that. So what should the town do to upgrade its network to improve traffic flow and traffic safety?
Yeah, that's a good question, and it's one that the town has been working on for many years. So the automated traffic management system is in place. The AI portion of that is working. It is, easier to move traffic through, but the truth of the matter is the growth in our area is so strong that it is hard to plan for the cut-through traffic that's coming from, Loudoun County or headed on, from Choteau and Knox County areas. The biggest thing that we can do is create a holistic network here in the town of Farragut. It's been planned for years. I know you love that. If you tell me one more time a plan, I'm gonna snap. It's been planned for years, and we are building it out as money allows. Part of that is, when the commercial section of the Ford property is developed, that will be a portion of that holistic network. So we have to continue to build, identify roads. Those roads, we have to build them out in such a way that it maintains the community's character. We don't want to take any property from anybody to create these mega highways. We want, and that's another thing, down right here at the town center, we don't want 6 lanes going each way at Campbell Station Road and Kingston Pike. That's the only way to alleviate traffic. What it does is it's called induced demand. Look it up. It's horrific to increase traffic like that. So it's a holistic piece. You have to look at the network in general, but the entire network to make the traffic ease traffic a little bit.
Yeah, traffic can be bad. I came from DC, so it's not as bad as DC. I will let you know that. But it can still seem bad. And there's some issues that I would see. One is the automated traffic management system. I don't think it's working as well as it could. That's just me. We spent a lot of money on it. I remember using to drive through downtown Bloomington, and the lights just went green, 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 green. Now you have a problem here because even if the automated traffic management system is working and the light turns green and the person's looking at their phone, it doesn't help. So we have, I think, a lot of learning how to do better management. I also like to think about, I don't think there's an overall big plan that we can advise for traffic because we're combined. We have Kingston Pike, which is owned by the state. We have North Shore, which is a monster of a road that needs to be fixed. So we have a lot of issues, and we're going to continue to have more and more traffic coming through. So I used to have a boss who would say, you shoot the wolf that's closest to the sled. And I kind of like that concept here. We need to look at what's gonna be our next traffic problem. One, the school. What are we gonna do with the school? How are we gonna plan that out? We're gonna have big fluxes of traffic coming in and out. We have a new traffic light planned here at Jamestown and Campbell Station Road. It's gonna help, but then it's also going to create a problem right down here. If you ever try to turn into Coles or Jamestown at the same time, it's not unusual for you to almost hit someone. And so I think you kind of have to identify where are the hot spots, work to address hot spots, fix the automated traffic management system best we can, and move on from there. Traffic is traffic. It's not gonna solve itself. We solve the pieces that we can. Thank you.
Diane, I agree with you on the traffic situation. Traffic is the number one thing I hear at the doors when I'm talking to people. It's, when I tell them, hey, what is your number one concern? It's always been traffic. And we're in a situation that, yeah, there's some hot spots around town. Now it's taking me 2 or 3 lights to turn left from Parkside on the Campbell Station when it used to take 1. The other thing I think we need to do better of is signage. There's some hot spots, like spots on Kingston Pike. There's some spots on Parkside, especially Campbell Station. When you get to the freeway, people still don't know that the left lane is going west, and the center lane is going north, and the right lane is going downtown. People are trying to merge in the last minute and move around. That's causing backups. Same thing on that Parkside turn. I think what we have is, and this goes to relationships with county officials, is we've been built around recently. If you look on Lowell Road, you look in some of these other areas, these massive apartment complexes that have come online have fed their traffic into our community. We don't have a seat at the table at the county. We're not talking to them, we're not planning with them as well. If we are, it's not as good as we should be doing. And if we're not, we should be doing it. That's the problem. So there's a lot more cars on our roads because of that situation. And I think that's a problem that we need to look into.
All right, well, this is a question, and Mr. Ruffalo, you actually started in on the answer to it. And that is, a lot of the traffic in Farragut is generated outside the town limits, either southwest Knox County, Choteau area, city of Knoxville, Loudoun County, north of here, county, in Knox County, also, of course, the interstate that comes through, and it dumps off people needing gas and that kind of thing at Campbell Station. So, and how would you work with the officials in the county? And we talked about the county officials. Mike talked about how there's going to be a new mayor, 2 new at-large commissioners. You also have a commissioner who represents the area now, and you also have the city of Knoxville. You've got Loudoun County. How should Farragut approach them and work with them? And we would start with.
I was first on the first part of that question. Do you want me to go first on the second part of that question?
Sure.
Thank you.
This is the last one, so we can do whatever we want.
Yeah, thank you. So, yeah, working with our counterparts in the other governments around us, not only Knox County, which is the natural place for us to go to work with not only the elected officials, but more importantly, staff. They're the ones who are designing and developing these plans to make roadways the way they are. But they have to use the ordinance that's in place. Ordinances that we have in place through Knox County are being rewritten as we speak. So the UDO, the Unified Development, whatever it is, they're rewriting the development ordinances that are out there. That's going to take traffic into consideration. So not only should we work with elected officials at Knox County, and we should work with staff at Knox County, but a lot of the funding that's going to be coming to us for this kind of thing, both Knox County and us, is at the state level. So the Tennessee Municipal League is a great place to start. We have a senator right up the road, Becky Massey Duncan, she's on the transportation committee. I've had a conversation with her at the State House not too long ago about this. So it is working those partnerships, working that one-on-one relationship to see where there's funding available to do this, to do roadway upgrades. And not only that, how are we going to get I-40, and you guys were there, TDOT came in not too long ago and talked about upgrading, improving I-40. That is going to be a major benefactor for getting traffic off of Kingston Pike for us. Because if you ever use Waze, if you ever use Google Maps, and there's a traffic burden on I-40, it's gonna put you right onto Kingston Pike. I'm done, Mike.
I think to a great extent, that's an internal problem that Bowman needs to address into how do we reach out, how do we meet people and talk to people at multiple different facets. I was talking to Joe not too long ago, in fact, talking to him about David Smoke, who the BOMA appoints, and I said, well, doesn't he end up having 5 bosses? And he goes, yeah, he does, because every alderman and the mayor has to go and talk to him about stuff, because we all can't talk together at the same time. So he can get directions from 5 different people, and that can become confusing. I think it's really important that we have a plan with BOMA as to how we reach out to all these different entities, be it Knox County, the state, Knoxville. I love the way you can be driving down Kingston Pike and all of a sudden, no, we're in Knoxville now. And then you come back and you're in Farragut, then you hit Knox County. We're one big entity. I grew up, it was like, here's your town, drive, here's another town. No, we're one big entity. And so creating that relationship is something that we really need to establish. Mayor Williams, he has so many contacts. He knows so many people. He works so many different aspects of it. When we lose him, that's gonna be a big question. How do we fill all of those things? Because he's out there on a lot of different committees. So I think it's something that needs to be addressed and will have to be addressed fairly soon. There is no incumbent in this race, which is kind of cool. North Ward, South Ward, mayor, all new people. It's going to be interesting, and I think that's a discussion that has to be had at the BOMA level first, and how we reach out and really work with those people, but no doubt it's very important.
Scott, can you repeat the question?
Sure, it was, how should the town of Farragut approach and engage with the governments surrounding Farragut regarding traffic? And that not only includes Knox County, includes the city of Knoxville, Loudoun County, and the state of Tennessee.
Yeah, so it kind of goes back to what I was talking about in my earlier question, so thank you for that. It really is about demanding a seat at the table. Okay, well, Farragut's over here, we're by ourselves, we got our own stuff. Knox County operates over here, but what Knox County does affects us. And we need to have our voices heard. And ever since I've been here, I've done my due diligence in getting involved, not just locally, but also expanded locally, so countywide level. So I've met the senators, I've met Richard Briggs several times, Becky Duncan Massey a few times. We've had good working relationships, Jason Zachary, and even people that aren't in our district, Justin Lafferty, Michelle Carringer, Eileen Davis, these people are gonna help us get our stuff done. So having a working relationship with our people in Nashville, but also a working relationship with our people in Knoxville. We do have a new administration coming in. I've met Betsy Henderson several times. I think we have a great working relationship. Brett Gibson. We have 2 new commissioners. Angela Russell and I talk frequently. She is my commissioner, so we talk frequently. They understand our needs, but we have to be more, I want to say forceful, but that's not where I want to go. We need to be more diligent with what we want to do and how we want Farragut to be looked at from the county level. Because quite frankly, like there's sometimes I go outside and then people say, where are you from? And they go, Farragut, and they go, why? I tell them why, but they've been here longer than me and they look at Farragut like the redheaded stepchild of Knox County. We need to change that. And I think once we get serious about stepping up to the table, we'll be taken seriously. And that's how we'll get stuff done.
Well, all right, well, that was the last question. It's time for now your closing remarks. This is your time to make your pitch to these folks about why they should vote for you. And we'll start with Ms. Hall.
I'll start. Joey's a great guy. Joe's a great guy. Being a great person doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be a great alderman. I think I have the best background, the best qualifications. I've been here for 14 years. I've had experience in working with all kinds of different levels, from my church to the city to HOA, to be developed for this. These guys may have MBAs. I have an MPA, which is public administration. So yeah, I just think that I'm better qualified than these folks, and I have a better relationship with the people in the town. I really enjoy getting to meet people. I enjoy the history of this town. I enjoy working with people, and I will say it, a servant's heart. I can't think of anything I'd rather do than serve wherever I go, and that's been something that's been part of me since I started in the Air Force, and I've gone on through. It's just what I like to do, and I'll tell you, win or lose, I'm still going to be involved in the community. So it's not going to be one of those, oh, you didn't win, she left, and we don't see her again. No, I will still be maybe more of a we're digging for people, but I really think I'm best suited for this position, and I'd be glad to talk to you. You all have an opportunity after this to talk to us if you have any specific questions, so that we can address them to make you feel more comfortable. I like to talk to people. I like sitting down with people. So, or like biking, if you want to bike instead of eating.
I would do that too, folks.
Or walk, or no, any place you want. Coffee's great. Anything. I love talking with people. I think I'm just saying I'm best qualified, and I'll stand toe to toe with Joey any day. Thanks.
You can bike to the coffee shop or walk to the coffee shop where I'm going to be. So that's that. Like I said in my introduction, the day we got here, we got to work getting involved in Farragut, getting involved in making this community a better place. I'm not going anywhere. Like Diane said, if something, whatever happens to either one of us in this election, we're not going anywhere. So I'm here to work, I'm here to serve. Service above self is something that I hold near and dear to me. It's something that I am passionate about. I'm passionate about giving back to this community. I'll tell a quick story. We were here probably less than a year, and my wife had to have major surgery. And we knew very few people. But the people that knew that was going on told others. And we had this outpouring of love for us. We had people bring us food. Joe, you love that. And it was great, and it just reinforced this why we're here, this is where we are. Every time we visited, this was home for us. We didn't want to go back to where we were living, we wanted to stay. So, I can give you my credentials and say, I'm this and I can plan that, and I just love serving people, and I would love to serve you. And I just want to say thank you guys for the opportunity to be here tonight. Thank you both for being up here. Thank you for those who stayed around. Those that left have missed out on the grudge match that we're going to have after this. They missed out on that. So you guys got an important decision to make starting Friday with early voting. Go with your gut, go with your heart. If you want to talk to me, I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. Reach me, call me, phone me, coffee with me, whatever. Get to know me. I'll tell you my story a little bit longer one-on-one. Thank you all for tonight.
All right, so just to make clear, I'm not running against those two. They're running against each other. The person I'm running against, the other candidate in the South Ward, is not here, so please don't compare me to those folks. They are wonderful. I like them both. Yeah. So I think Joey hit it first. In 2007, when I first got involved in government, I found a passion. went back to work after I'd been, semi-retired for a while. And I went to work at a fire department, and that public service kind of rang the bell. It filled my cup. I was there for 10 years. I absolutely loved it. I moved from there to the town of Farragut. I worked at the town of Farragut as a staff member. My community meant something to me. I wanted to serve my community. I've since moved on. I'm an IT director downtown now. And when I came back, or when I left the town, I was now able to get on the committees that I was never able to get on before. So I went to the Parks and Athletics Committee. I went to the VRRB. I tried to get on other committees and they told me no, to go sit down. There was, I was doing too much. I was appointed about 9 months ago, and I've continued to serve on committees. I want more committees. I want to do more service. But the big change was when I got put on the Board of Mayor and Alderman, it gave me the ability to work directly with the people of Farragut and solve your issues that I couldn't do as a staff member, as a public servant. So now I've got that in my bag too, and it really makes a difference. All of the drama and all of the nonsense that goes on social media means nothing when you can work with the community, when you can work with the neighborhood, and tell that neighborhood, you know what, I can do something for you, and I'm gonna fix it. And I have. I've already done it.
All right, well, thank you very much. Want to thank all the candidates for being here and showing up. One of the things, I've covered politics for a very long time, and I always have a great respect and admiration for people who stick their necks out and put themselves out there to serve their neighbors. So appreciate that. I think everybody should give them a round of applause. I also want to say this, I have moderated a few of these, even though I'm not getting better at it. And I have covered many, many more, most of them in Knoxville or Knox County. And you guys this is probably the best crowd I've ever seen at a forum. You guys are engaged, and you should give yourselves a round of applause for coming out. I'm going to vote. Here, I'll turn it back over to Mike.
Scott's got a newsletter to get out tonight. What time do you go to bed? 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock?
Between 2 and 4.
So if you get Compass, you'll know it hits around 6:30 in the morning, right?
Yeah.
So thanks for coming out, and we appreciate you very much. Great guy, I've known him a long time. I want to editorialize. We had 4 great candidates here tonight. So if you want to do them a favor, start this Friday. Early voting's Friday. I can tell you this, Mike Ragsdale and I do a lot of work with counties throughout the state. I don't know if you've ever heard of Hardeman County, lower southwest Tennessee. A friend of mine, Willie Spencer, was mayor of Hardeman County 2 or 8 years ago. He lost by 1 vote. If I lost by a vote, I don't know if I'd sleep for 3 days. But you think that's a rarity. Well, we had the chairman of the Knox County Commission, Gina Oster, lost her seat by 11 votes just a month ago. And people forget this. Mayor Glenn Jacobs, who's probably the most popular mayor across the state now, won his seat by 23 votes. So I know the people in this room are engaged and are going to vote, but what you need to do for these candidates is remind your friends and neighbors and kids and everyone else to vote. So voting's important. I want to thank Mike Papa. Joe, you won the stop sign race, if that matters. So Mike, thanks and I've tried to steal his signs from him, he's not going to give them to me. I guess my last closing comment, I'm the closest resident to the town fair and town hall. Mike knows this, I live at the end of a cul-de-sac. I can sit at my fire pit and see a statue. So, I'm proud to live in Farragut. Farragut's a great place to live. And I don't tell people that because I don't want more people moving here. But man, it's a great place to live. So thanks again for coming. Got more cookies out here. I got more water in the back of my car if we run out of water. And guys, thanks again for coming. Thank you, buddy.